Good morning, everybody. No, it's been a while since y'all seen each other, so I had to wait a little bit, get the visiting out of the way. We are really happy to have not only our students here this morning, but all of our visitors, all of our guests that are here. I know that a lot of you folks are from the Academy of Lifelong Learning. Very happy to have you come visit with us and kind of take a chance to see. If you want a tour after the talk is over this morning, stop any one of us. We'd love to give you a tour of our facility that your tax money paid for, and we certainly appreciate that. We want you to know that. It has made teaching even more of a pleasure, if that's possible after 25 years of being on the campus here. But want to really welcome all of our visitors here. Also want to recognize got a guest this morning I wasn't anticipating, but I want to recognize our inaugural president, Dr. Roy Lazenby. Dr. Lazenby is our PT manager, and he heads up our Academy for Lifelong Learning control down at our South Campus, we say. Okay. Dr. Lazenby also is a very special person to Dr. Moore and myself, because he hired us, and we owe our job to him. And he has been involved with this school since its inception, almost back in the early 70s, when we were known as North Harris County College, later Tomball College, and now Lone Star College, Tomball. But anyway, I want to introduce a couple of people before we get started. First of all, this presentation this morning that is being brought to us is through the Director of Marketing for the Animal Intelligence Agency, and I'm proud to say that that's my daughter, and that's Elizabeth Younger-Perpich. Elizabeth, you want to wave at everybody? Bethy, Elizabeth, we call her Bethy. Bethy's been a part of the Tomball scene since 1988, and she's a graduate of Tomball High School, and she has been associated with Lone Star College Tomball as a student. She's been here as an employee. She was an adjunct professor for a while in the business department here, and has been a part of this school. It's only natural that she should be here. She received her bachelor's degree in pre-med from Denver University, and then got her MBA from Case Western Reserve in Cleveland, Ohio, sometime after that, and was a member of the SEC championship basketball team way back when. Okay?
Where? Hey, where?
The Auburn SEC basketball team. Sorry about that. Anyway, she's responsible for booking our guest speaker this morning, and if there are events coming up and you would like to have our speaker talk with your group, if you'll check with Elizabeth at the end of the morning presentation, she would love to talk with you. Anyway, want to get to our guest speaker this morning, Anthony C. Bruins, aka Dr. Positive, okay, Dr. Positive, is been a teacher here at Tomball for many years. He's taught in the continuing education department and teaching human behavior as well as animal behavior on Fridays and Saturday and Sunday mornings. We would see each other down at the end of the West Wing while you were taking care of the dogs and what have you. He had his classes outside, so he's been working with us for a long time. Anthony is a resident of the Houston area. He comes from the 5th Ward and advanced his mind basically against all odds in acquiring a degree in engineering from the University of Houston. He has worked on the aerospace industry, NASA now, for over 28 years, and in doing so he has developed vehicle models based on human performance and works in the Control Center of Technologies there at NASA. He's as a federal systems engineer. He's been training humans and their dogs for almost 20 years. He's unique in his approach. He solves the unwanted behavior problems that most of our pet owners obviously want to find a cure for. And he's just published a book, which we know will be a bestseller. This is The 5-Minute Dog Trainer by Anthony C. Bruins, aka Dr. Positive. And this address, if you're interested, will be available to you in the presentation today. We've got a few books up here. Unfortunately, we're not allowed to sell them up here on campus for reasons that we spoke of earlier, but they will be available to you to look at, peruse, and then you can order them online. So, Dr. Positive has also brought his children with him this morning. I want them to stand up if we could. Xavier and Mercedes, his right and left hand workers. Thank you very much. I thought Xavier a while ago was IT man. He's sitting over here with one hand working the keyboard, and that's always my tip, on somebody from IT, and it turns out that probably he's going to be a future IT individual. Anyway, without any other ado, let's introduce Dr. Positive.
Thank you. There's a couple more of my pack that will be arriving. My wife and little Anthony, little Positive. Anthony wasn't feeling well, wife wasn't feeling well, so they might be just a little late, but they'll be in, and then I'll introduce them. I'd like to say, give thanks to Dr. Younger and Dr. Moore for the opportunity to come and speak to you guys. I think that it's an honor to be able to even interface with Dr. Younger and Dr. Moore because they're pioneers. They wanted to put together a first-class program for the vet tech people, and one of the things that I admired about them both that they were open to talk to me about where I thought the future was going relevant to animal behavior. I know that when I had an opportunity to talk with Dr. Younger, I've always been a forward thinker. I wanted to see what I could bring to the table for him to help the school to be even better. And here's the remaining of my family. Anthony, guys, come sit over here. This is Anthony C. Bruins II. And this is my wife, Dr. Elaine Bruins. And so now we have the whole pack here. So you got to have your pack to support you. So, but I'd like to thank Dr. Younger and Dr. Moore for the opportunity to present to you guys what I believe the future is and how we have gone about solving one of the most complex problems. For those who don't know, there are 18 to 20 million dogs a year being killed because of problem behavior. And it's not the dog, it's the human. And so I'm going to tell you a little bit about how I have done what I've done. I also want to thank Beth. It's my right-hand man, girl. I want to thank her for working with me. We worked long hours to get the presentation. Been a technical guy. I gave her a lot of technical data. She just took that technical data and rolled it up to a high-level presentation. So I want to thank her very, very much for working with me. So, and I'd like to thank Mr. McLean from the Continuing Education Department, who has always believed in me and given me the opportunity supporting what I do. And I am totally shocked to even just meet the president. So thank you very much for the opportunity to speak with you guys. Okay, so here we go. Human training for dogs. Complete paradigm shift. Most people was like, thinking it's a dog getting trained. No, it's human training for dogs. And the paradigm shift is dog trainers not having the dog train. Dog trainers having the human train to think and see the world the way the dog sees it. So I wanted to put that bit in your subconscious mind right off the bat. And later on, I'll pick someone from the audience to do a demonstration, real-time demonstration, where I'm going to train the student and the dog, correct the student and the dog at the same time. Okay, so I'll be looking for a volunteer, and if no one volunteers, then I'll pick a volunteer. So just wanted to let you guys know that. Okay, the outline, the agenda for today is give a little brief intro. We'll talk about dog training, past, present, and future. What Dr. Positive does and how Dr. Positive does it. And we'll talk about something that I coined dogcology. Okay, that's a Dr. Positive term right there. So we're hoping that dogcology gets out there where it becomes a household name. Then we'll give a demonstration. Then we'll talk about what's next for Dr. Positive, because Dr. Positive and AIC3, we're always thinking about the future. We're always thinking forward, how we can make things better. Key word right there. Father and husband. That's Dr. Positive. I'm still learning that one right there. You know, and my wife has put up with me for 20 years. She's been my biggest cheerleader. She saw things that I didn't see. And I took a class on negotiations last week at work, and I realized that relationships is all about win-win. I wish I would have known that 20 years. I could have saved myself a lot of time from not sleeping on the sofa or getting in trouble. So I'll tell you guys, relationships is all about win-win, win-win, win-win all the time. This is Mercedes, daddy's girl. That's all I need to say. As Dr. Younger stated, I've been at NASA for 28 years. Systems engineer, visionary architect, innovator, mentor, teacher. In 2005, my wife and my family and I, we created K9 Communication and Control, Inc., as well as the Animal Intelligence Agency. The C3 Inc. is more the commercial side of it. The AIA is the research and development side of it. New term, dogcologists. My vision is to certify dog trainers at some point to become dogcologists, where they understand the human-dog interface, not just a dog, but how both entities see the world. As Dr. Young stated, I've been teaching here at Tomball since year 2000 in the continuing education, teaching that puppy and dog obedience class, and I'm also part of the Discovery Camp where I teach how to be the genius class to 9 and 12-year-olds, teaching them how to think outside the box using the whole brain, not just the left side of the brain where it's logical and methodical, but the right side of the brain where imagination and creativity resides. So let's talk about dog training, past, present, and future. Started back in Rome, BC. Dogs were used for herding. I love the pictures. You'll see a series of pictures that Beth put together just blew my mind, you know, that sums up what I said in a whole page of words in a picture. So I'm learning about how a marketing guy thinks also. Then after AD, dogs were used for guarding the property. They were used for protection. They were used for hunting. They were used for search and rescue. And they're still utilized for that function today. At the turn of the 21st century, a lot of people that know that Colonel Conrad Most, who trained in Germany, is called the father of modern traditional dog training. And you know, Dr. Most methodologies were, should I say, more on the compulsion side of things. He was just a hard German. It was going to be my way or the highway, or my way, or I'm going to put my foot in, you know, different areas. But he trained military dogs, and in training military dogs, they picked just the best dogs, so they wanted the strong dogs. Okay, so they had their way of weaning out various dogs, but it all started with Dr. Conrad Most. Then we move into where dogs are used for farming, but as things start to turn toward turn of the century per out the World War I, they moved to factories. So you had more dogs in homes. But because people are starting to go and work in factories and stop using the dogs in the farming, the dogs started to get into what they call mischief. So they started having problem behavior dogs. Okay? Now, dogs were utilized in World War II as service dogs, but the service dogs were taught per the compulsion types of methodologies per Dr. Conrad Most. But in the late 30s, the American Kennel Club introduces obedience training. And as a result of that, they utilize the same type of training that they use here in the competition. So the AKC introduces, quote unquote, dog training to the public. In the Korean War, Vietnam War, they used choke chains, physical punishment, not abuse, but, you know, they use a choke cane using negative stimulus. Now, in the demonstrations, I'm going to utilize, there are different tools that you can use in training dog. You can use choke collar, you can use prong collars, or pinch collars, or shock collars. I prefer the prong collar. And my wife wanted to make sure that I let everybody know, to set the stage, that the prong collar basically simulates the teeth or the bite of the dog. It may look menacing, but remember, my objective is to teach you how to think and act like a dog. That's the whole paradigm shift. That's where the challenges are. Humans start to get over emotional and want to amorticize the dog to the point where it's a human. No, a dog is a dog is a dog is a dog. So my objective is to teach you how to think and act like the dog. And so as a result of that, you must have a tool to communicate with the dog, which I'll talk about later. How do you communicate with the dog? In the 1970s, people start to basically figure out different ways to get the message out to the masses. So now you start to introduce obedience via television and various books. And then there was the Kohler method of training, which was basically the dog had options. The dog could make decisions, or the dog had choices. Do good, positive reward. Do bad, negative reward. So as a result, the dogs were very better, and they became more balanced, or as they call, well-adjusted. In the 1980s, dominance and punishment was basically how dogs were trained. And then there comes the clicker training. How many people are familiar with the clicker training? Okay, clicker training just went worldwide. Everybody started using clicker training, which you have a little clicker based on a reward. Then in the 1990s, operative conditioning, which was B.F. Skinner's research, became very popular. But, you know, it started to get a bad rap because of the positive reinforcement. Okay, but operative is based on positive and negative reinforcement. Then, 1996. 1996 was a great year for me. My son Xavier was born. And my wife and I, we finally started to get serious. Of course, it's moving too slow for her anyway, but 1996 was a great year for me. That is when I made the breakthrough that dog training is not having a dog train. Dog training is having a human train. A little background on that. In 1994, I wrote requirements on what I wanted a dog to do. I wanted to be able to send a dog on a distant attack. Oh, I made a mistake. Come back and sit. I wanted a dog that I could control off leash. I wanted a dog that would protect my family without me saying, watch that guy, watch that guy. I wanted a loaded weapon. Okay? I met a guy that told me if I can't train your dog in 15 minutes, it's free. Of course, you know, I had a seven-week-old pit bull dog that I was trying to make come for 7 months. So to make a long story short, the guy made my dog come sit, stay downhill, go in the house, come out the house, get in the car, Get out the car, no leash, no collar in 10 minutes. And then he looked at me and said, I thought you said you needed your dog training. And as clearly as I'm talking to you, I must state it as I lived it, that God spoke to me and said, dog trainers don't have dog training. Dog trainers have human training. Think and see the world the way the dog sees it. And I spent 2 years of my life failing, learning how to think like a dog. And in 1996, I made a 6-week-old puppy come sit, stay down here off leash in 5 minutes. I later found out that the puppy was deaf. So I trained per all learning begins with the senses. The dog couldn't hear me, but the dog could see me. And since then, I've done it as fast as 60 seconds at Tomball College on the West Wing. So that's how the breakthrough occurred. Now let me tell you a little bit about the dog training evolution. First it was just dog training. People just train the dog. You hire a dog trainer, that's what he's going to come and do. He's going to train your dog. Okay, as things evolved, then it went from dog training, then human training. Okay, what that means is a dog trainer says, I'm going to train you. But when he comes, he trains the dog, then he trains you individually. The dog is already trained. He trained the dog right before your eyes. Now he's going to teach you his dog training techniques. The breakthrough, human/dog training simultaneously, as I stated, as you'll see in the demonstration. I'm going to train the human who train the dog. I'm going to correct the human who correct the dog in real time. My objective in a dogologist or psychiatrist is I help dogs with people problems. It's not the dog with the problem. It's the human with the problem. Most dog trainers or dog whisperers or whomever else, they solve the symptom when they train the dog. What I do is I solve the problem, which starts with the human based on education. Derek Wayne Mabro, my first student, 1996. My objective of AIAC3 is to save dogs' lives and humans' hearts. This young man here was very, very inspirational to me. You know, when I look at him, I have nothing to complain about. To make a long story short, I had a litter of pit bull puppies, and I was just giving them away. And I was giving them away, one to his cousin and some of the kids in the neighborhood. And I just happened to just look at him. And I could look in his eyes while he was laying in his bed, and I could tell that he really wanted a dog. But who would think that someone would give a young man in this position a pit bull dog, you know, who has a bad reputation? Why would I give someone this dog? But I was looking at the bigger picture. You know, I put myself in his shoes and thought, well, why shouldn't he have a dog? So I made a commitment, you know, to help him. And so I asked him if he wanted a dog. And you should have seen his face light up in the room when I asked him, do you want a dog? And it was like, well, you're talking to me. You want to really give me a dog? You want to give me a dog? I said, if it's okay with your mother, please ask your mother. So he asked his mother if he could have a dog. So as a result, I gave him a dog. Her name was Brandy. Dog changed his life. The dog gave him a reason to live. The dog gave him a reason to want to get up every morning and fight to live in his position. But as a result of that, the dog changed his life forever because he couldn't have kids, so that was his kid. So when I gave him the dog, the first thing he did was put the dog on his chest over on the left side of his heart and just stroked it. We synced up the heartbeats so that they would become one. As a result of that, he learned how to communicate with his dog. He learned how to control his dog. Off leash. I wrote about Derek. His chapter's called, I call him the wise guy because to me he's so wise. This chapter is called The Wise Guy Uses Remote Control. His remote control was his voice tone. So he learned how to communicate and control his dogs. And when his dog accidentally got out and they was going somewhere and the van was open on a hot summer day, the dog was conditioned that when it hits the door and see the van open that it's time to ride. Well, one of the relatives didn't know the dog was in there and shut the door. And you guys know what happened. Devastated. Just devastated the whole family. So as a result of that, I had to figure out how to get his head back in the game. What did I do? I gave him another dog. His name was Montana. He did the same thing. So this guy is my director of rehabilitation and handicap. My vision was to figure out how to give him a skill where he can become a citizen that can make a contribution, because it's like people had written him off. So my vision is someday is for him to talk to a whole audience of people that are in positions that he is and help them understand how, a dog changed his life and how a dog could help change their life. So, I asked him, what did he want me to say to you guys? And he said, he was just felt blessed and honored that I even gave him the opportunity to have a dog. And to tell you guys that the one thing that he learned was he learned how to communicate with his dog, and he learned how to control it off leash. So I told him that I would say that on his behalf. But that's my inspiration. What do? Now, when Beth put this picture together over there, I just started laughing because I felt sorry for that dog, because he probably can't. He's probably trying to figure out how to smell those cookies that are getting ready to be developed. But what I do, my objective is to establish a harmonious relationship between the dog and the owner, where they become unified, one spirit. The example was that when Derek put that dog on his heartbeat, on his left side of his chest, to sync up the hearts. The other thing that I do is, dog training to me is like solving problems. As an engineer, I love solving problems. Every dog is different, just like every kid is different. So it's always dynamic, and it's just a fun thing to do. It's all about solving problems in real time, but teaching the human how to see the world the way the dog sees it. And when I give the demonstration with the student, I don't even want the student to think. In the continuing education, when I teach the class, the students get up there, they're thinking about what I said. No, just do it. I'm going to correct you. But also, I want to teach humans how to create the perfect pack. And the perfect pack to me is that you have to establish yourself as the alpha dog. You have to establish the chain of command. Because remember, dogs are seeing the world like animals, like dogs. They're not seeing the world like humans. Okay? And I always tell people, if you want to communicate with your animal, the first thing you have to do, you got to get here, because the dog sees the world this way. The first time you get down here, you're now in the dog world. We see the world here, vertical. So that's got to be an integration. How do I do it? Or how have I done it? From a systems perspective. This was big kudos to Beth for putting that one there, because we got to the moon via systems engineering, where we developed systems. A plus B plus C plus D equals E. If B is wrong, the whole equation is wrong. That's what my How to Be the Genius class is about, is teaching kids how to think systemically, because the problems of today are systemic. They're not one-sided, they're systemic. So we have to teach our students how to look at the big picture and understand that if one component of the big picture changes, the whole equation changes. So from the dog training perspective, we want to address the what, the when, and the where, and the who. But the key thing is why. Why is that dog doing that? So as a dogologist/psychiatrist, I start to get the background, as much background as possible on that dog, from puppy until I see it. because I want to understand how the patterns of behavior were established. Per Pavlov, per Skinner, Cialdini, Bandura, Morrow, all those guys that did that research, which I'll talk about a little later. I leveraged it. But my research was based on all learning begins with the senses. So as being a systems guy, I integrated everybody's stuff. So what I do different, I look at it from a systemic perspective. I help the students look at it from a systemic perspective as they understand the human-dog environment interface, looking at the whole picture, not just components of it. As I stated, I help the humans understand why, and I teach you how to think and act like a dog. Based on something we call intelligent fast failure. Dr. Jack V. Madsen, 1996, wrote a book called Innovate or Die that talks about intelligent fast failure. I wrote the foreword to that book, and I was fortunate enough, blessed enough to have a chapter written about me in that book in 1996. As I stated, 1996 was a great year for me. How? It's very, very simple. The dog sees the world black and white, good or bad. As a result of that, I use both positive and negative reinforcement. Some people just use positive reinforcement. Some people just use negative reinforcement. I use both. Because when you use both, then the dog's balanced. It's just like children. There must be balance. So I use both positive and negative reinforcement. This is one of my favorite slides. Who's training who? So I teach people how to become the alpha dog. It's very, very important that you become the alpha dog, or the alpha cat, or the alpha horse, or the alpha mice, or whatever you're dealing with. There's always going to be an order. Just like in relationships, you know, you got the husband, the wife, the kids, the animals. You know, that's an order. There's a hierarchy. So I teach you guys how to become the alpha dog, establishing the leadership role. Because if you don't lead, the dog will automatically lead. That's what's happening now. The dog is leading and the people are following. Right here. Also, you have to establish the chain of command. Okay? It's very important to establish the chain of command. Who's in charge? You have to let the dog know who's in charge. So you have to learn how to communicate with it. In the wild, zero tolerance. Okay? If an alpha male or alpha female communicates with a member of the pack, the body language is going to get tense. There's going to be a stare, and there's going to be a growl. That's the warning. If the dog does not adhere, it's a bite. It's a bite. Usually around the neck or somewhere, it's a bite. Problem solved. Zero tolerance. Done. That dog or that member of the pack doesn't do that anymore. Okay? So there's zero tolerance. So I always tell the students, if it's anything that you do not like that your dog is doing, then don't let the dog do it, because you will set a pattern of behavior. Another thing I stated, integrate the human, the dog, and the environment. Environment shapes behavior. A dog will come stay down in here, but you take it outside, the dog is like, well, I don't have to do it out there. Or I've seen scenarios where I've had people take their dogs out to do their business. If it's raining, dog's like, I'm not going out there. Why? Because the dog never done his business in the rain. So environment shapes behavior. The more diverse environments that you work with your dog, the more balanced and trained your dog is going to be, because he's been introduced to a lot of various things in his subconscious mind. Now, let's talk about dogology. Another great illustration by Beth. Thank you so much. What is canine communication and control? Canine communication and control is how you communicate with your dog. You communicate with your dog eyes, motion, movement, body language, and voice tone. It's either going to be passive or it's going to be assertive. But that image is imprinted. You imprinting your dog per your emotions and movement. If you're fluent, the dog knows we don't have a problem. If you change it, the dogs know we got a problem. Automatically. As I mentioned, for my research, all learning begins with the senses. What the dog sees, smells, tastes, feels, hears is recorded subconsciously in diverse environments. And that's where the imprinting and the deprinting happens. Okay? For example, if you take your dog and leave it at another facility to be trained, that dog will do whatever there. But when that dog gets back in your environment, the dog's like, I don't have to do it here. Okay? The dog knows environment shapes behavior. So you have to, if you got negative behaviors, then you have to deprint that negative behavior in that environment where it occurred, erasing that out of that subconscious mind per that environment, and reprint it in the environment that you wanted. As I stated, diverse environments. What I stated earlier was I integrated Pavlov's research on classical conditioning, B.F. Skinner's research on operative conditioning, positive and negative reinforcement. Pavlov was a physiologist. B.F. Skinner was a scientist. I integrated Abbott Bandura and William Morris research. They were cognitive psychologists, i.e. mirroring. Monkey see, monkey do. This dog is barking. That dog started barking. He don't even know why he's barking. And I integrated my research. All learning begins with the senses and integrated. So I leveraged all those forefathers before me, all those guys that did their research before me. I integrated. So I'm literally understand that term now, standing on the shoulders of giants. I leverage those guys. And I'm hoping that someday someone will innovate on my stuff and make it better, because it's all about saving dogs' lives and humans' hearts. Now, we're going to give a demonstration, i.e. a test. Some lucky person is going to go get a dog, and we're going to make that dog do something. Come sit, stay downhill. Now, as I stated to you, environment shapes behavior. That dog has never been in this auditorium. So I honestly don't know what to expect. Okay? So just a heads up. But whatever it is, we're going to get control of the scenario. Okay? So, do I have a brave volunteer? Ooh, got a couple. Dr. Younger, how do I? Do we flip a coin or do what?
Look for a person with their head down and their hands in their lap.
Well, I got 3 people though.
I don't know. Look, Katie.
Katie, come on down. Okay, let me educate you real quick. Okay? This is what I want you to do. Cognitive modeling. Okay? I want you to crouch down. Not yet. Okay, I want you to crouch down. Dogs see the world this way. Come to you every time because you're on his level. Okay? And I want you to say, I want you to reward right here. I don't want you to reward over here. I don't want you to reward over there, because the dog will get conditioned to come on the side with a reward. Okay, that's come. Okay. Then I want you to go to sit. Okay. This is sit. Okay. Okay. That's a big dog back there, and I don't know if he would want to submit to you, okay? But we'll hear. He learns to hear that slap, see that slap. He's going to get right there because he knows that he's been rewarded. Now, down is going to be your hardest command. So I want you to go in to the cheek, seeing the world this way. Okay. You get all that? Okay. What's come?
Come.
Okay. What's sit? What's stay? What's heel?
Heel.
Change directions. Okay. And down. Okay. Now, I have to now go into Dr. Positive, the superhero of the dog world. Now, a lot of you guys at the fun run saw me with this collar on. Okay, so when I put this collar on, not this one. I did a demonstration with this collar right here to my wife one day on the stairs in the townhome. And I say, let's. She's like, well, how does it work? I said, well, you put it on like this. And she said, okay. I put it on, and then she jerked it. I did like this. She said, well, I know what I need to handle you now. Yeah, and I say, well, okay. So when I act up, my wife threatens to go get the prong collar. That's why she don't know where they are. Okay, so as I transitioned into the dog mode, okay, when I teach my students, when I first did this, I was always trying to figure out how can I get the students to understand what I'm saying. I want you thinking and acting like a dog. So subliminally, I start wearing the dog collar. Got lots of good reviews on it. But what blew my mind, I had some seniors, older ladies, who thought it was cool. So they started wearing it in my class. So I said, well, hell, I'll just keep wearing it. Okay, so now, this is a prong collar. Okay, now, I'm going to have your name?
Katie.
Katie, put this prong collar on this dog. Where's the dog? Where?
It went outside.
Okay, I'm going to have her put this prong collar on this dog. Slide it on like that, like that. Now, this dog has never had a prong collar on. So as a result of that, you might see what we call opposition reflex. Like, what is that? Because that dog has a different collar on. Okay, so, you understand, Katie? Now, the last thing I want to let Katie know is that if I say for you at some point to make this dog go down, and that dog doesn't want to go down, I'm going to stop right there and say, okay, now, as I tell my students, hey, we can make it come, sit, stay, heel. If you're okay with that, I'm okay with that. If you want to make the dog go down, then this is what you're going to have to do. Now, understand, if the dog, I don't know nothing about this dog. Maybe Dr. Younger know more about it than anybody. I don't have any background or history of this dog. Don't know why it's at the rescue or shelter or whatever. I know nothing about this dog. But I will analyze the dog to the point where I will not let Katie get bit. I'll take the bite before she'll take a bite. But if you're going to make a dog go down and you're using this collar, remember, this represents the bite in the teeth. Then you might be ready, you might want to be ready to take a bite Because if the dog doesn't want to go down, he's not going to go down. And if you're going to make him go down, then, you got to make a decision in real time. Because if you try to make the dog go down, and you go down, and the dog try to bite you, and you do this, then the game over because the dog owns you now. He said, I'll bite you every time you try to make me do that. So I won't put Katie in that kind of situation. But, I'll ask Dr. Younger how far he want to go with it because I've never lost a dog fight. As a matter of fact, I've been bitten by some everything except a pit bulldog. Okay, so we're going to put this collar on. Wait, hold that. Now, I brought a few treats. Now, you always Pavlov, okay? So we're going to use Pavlov per food reward because food is the highest motivator. But there are other things. Good boy, because you wean off the food. Good boy. Physical. And play. So we're just going to work with good boy and food reward. And I want you to give him physical because you're overstimulated. Okay? Now, then you're going to give the good boys, which is the B.F. Skinner. Okay? Now, what she's going to go through is intelligent fast failure. So don't worry about failing. I'm here to correct you. Okay? This is a controlled experiment. Okay, so the psychology part of it is you make the dog come, then you go to sit. What you're going to do is you're going to review the old and you're going to introduce the new. So you're imprinting it. Okay. Any questions? Okay, now you're going to reward him for everything that he does correctly. Now, when he's dragging that leash and it looks like he's getting out of control, step on the end of the leash so you can stay in control at all times. So the dog is in control all the time. Okay, any questions? So we don't know what's going to happen, but something's going to happen. Okay, I want you to slide that on, put it on, take that collar off, put that leash on it. She's definitely not scared of it, dog. Okay. Now, you want to always make sure that you can put 2 fingers in there like that. Don't touch it. Okay. Now. Okay, you're in control now. Okay. So, drop that leash. Make him come.
Come. Come.
Give it to him.
I did.
Okay. Slap your leg and go to heel.
Heel. Heel.
Step on that leash. Perfect. Drop it.
Heel.
Change directions.
Heel.
Give it to him. Go to sit. Dog's ready. Go back to heel.
Heel.
Dog's ready.
Heel.
It's okay. Just give him a tug. Drop it.
Heel.
Change directions.
Heel.
Give it to him when he comes.
Heel.
He's ready to go. Okay? That's come. Clap your leg and tell him to come.
Come.
Don't worry
Come.
about that. He's just environment. All the external stimuli, all the faces.
Come. Come.
Tell them to sit.
Sit.
Tell them to stay.
Stay.
Give it to them. Take them down to tip of the nose. Come out, come out, come out. Bingo. All right. Slap a leg, tell them heel.
Heel.
That's come, that's
Heel.
sit, that's stay, that's down, that's heel. Worry about that. He just everywhere. Bring him back.
Heel.
Okay. I didn't hear no good boys.
Heel.
Come this way so we can see you.
Heel.
Dog's ready. Give him good
Sit.
boys.
Good boy.
Now, tell him to stay.
Stay.
Walk away. Okay. Correct him.
No.
No. Good girl. Okay. Okay. That's basic obedience. Come sit, stay downhill. Now we're going to go to sit, stay. Okay. The objective now, you put him in a sit, stay in this square. Tell him to stay. If he moves, you want him to move. You told him to stay. Pick up the leash. No. I'm talking to you.
Okay.
When he does this, pick up the leash and do this. Tell him no
Okay.
at the same time,
Okay.
and put him back in that spot. So put him in a sit stay.
Sit.
Perfect.
Sit. Stay.
Go over there. That dog's smart. Go out the door. Tell him to stay.
Stay.
Now, if that dog moves, the dog is smart. It's like I said, it's not the dog. It's the human. The dog's ready to go. That dog said, I'll even stay. I'll go down and stay. Because why? We drove his appetite. The alpha dog leads, grooms, feeds, and protects. The dog is smart. Okay? Now, I want her to come fix this. Okay, where are you? Okay, correct him right there. Wait, bring it out here. Wait, I want it to be seen. Okay, correct him.
No.
Put him back on the same spot in a sit.
Sit.
Tell him to stay.
Stay.
Go back out. Now, dog's smart. He said I even go down. Okay, go fix it. It's okay. Okay, you just take it back. That's what's called a psychological threat. Okay, change your body language,
Sit.
voice tone. Tell him sit down this
Sit
time.
down.
Point down to the floor.
Down. Down.
Tell him stay.
Stay.
Walk away. Now, change your. Come here, Kate. This time, change your voice tone and tell him stay.
Stay.
Go outside the door. That's how it's done. Okay? No stimulus. Change the voice tone, eyes, motion, movement, body language. Assertively. Now they're communicating. Okay? He's done. He'll sit there all day. Why? Because he knows if I move, I get better. And sometimes you have stubborn dogs. Sometimes you have dogs with a high pain tolerance. So you graduate the pressure. Pressure equals progress. You graduate the pressure. And sooner or later, the dog says, "Arr!" Done. That's it. Over. There you have it. 5 minutes. May have been less. It's 20 years of my life that I want to share with the world. This is how it's done. It's all about saving dogs' lives and humans' hearts. Not weeks, not days, not months, not hours, minutes. So I feel blessed for the opportunity to give. I feel like I got a good team. I want to thank my wife, who's been with me from day one. Xavier, that's my techie guy. Mercedes, I don't know what she want to do, vet, fashion design, I don't know, she might make something for dogs or whatever. Anthony, both boys want to be engineers, but Anthony, he's more the hands-on. It's a family thing. So Beth is going to take us around the world because we know we got a good product and we want to share it with everyone because that's just the right thing to do. Now, I'm going to call Katie back in, and she's going to come in, tell the dog, stay, crouch down, give it lots of love. Done. Katie. Come in with the stay sign. Crouch down, give him lots of love. So you let the dog know it wasn't personal. Seriously, it wasn't personal. It's a dog thing. Okay, so that concludes our demonstration. Whoever can take it back and just bring the collar back. Thank you, Katie. Did a good job. That's okay. Now, what's next for Dr. Positive? What's next for AIA? What's next for C3? What's next for the world? Because that's where we're striving to go. As I mentioned to you guys, my vision is to, at some point, whether it's through continued education or through the vet tech programs, I want dog trainers to be coming here so that I can certify them. I can't do it by myself. I need dog trainers, but I would like to give them the latest and greatest from the human side. They know dogs, but I want them to, learn from what I did, and I would like for them to become what I call certified dogologists. I have written requirements, certification requirements and standards for human dog certification. So my vision that someday is to have dog trainers at Tomball College through the continuing education program. And then their hands-on experience will be they have to go and train the dogs from the shelters and the rescues, just like we just did here. Also, web apps, phone apps. In this book, there are sketches. My son Xavier did the sketches. We're working right now to put these sketches in phone apps and web apps where you can purchase come, sit, stay, downhill, $1.99 per app. Make your dog come sit, stand downhill for $10 or whatever Beth thinks. I have to talk to my marketing person, whatever she thinks is the right price. But we're going to phone apps and web apps. Online virtual dog training. Working on that right now. I had a class about a month ago. We video recorded their weekly training. So I have 3 weeks of data where I'm working with my techie guy, Xavier, and another gentleman, and we're going to put it in 3D, where we set up training classes online via the internet, and in 3D, you look like you popped in the video. So we're working on that. What we're going to show you on the 3D stuff here is the stuff popping out. But we also have, these guys have written a piece of software that allow for you to pop in. So our vision at some point is to generate enough capital where we, Mr. Wynn did this 10 years ago, where you pop into a game and you interact with the characters. He did the Magic Carpet Ride. So one of the things that we want to do is generate enough capital where we can pop you in to a video and let you interact. You guys look so techy. Do you see that? Did it pop? Gotta get your eyes. You see the jet? Who can see it? You see that horse pop out? Yes? No? Can you see it? Seriously? Are you serious? I just want to make sure. Can you see it? Did it pop out? Can you touch it? Do you want to touch it? Okay, let's go to another one. Okay. Okay, Dr. Young, this is the concept showing that we can rotate. Can you see that? Okay. You kept the lights down with it? Go back to that street. Can you see that? Yeah, I think that's a lot better. Can you see that? You see that pop out? Who's that? You see that? Did it pop out? Is Mike McCullough here? Right here. Mike McCullough is my massive friend. He's working on a project that's called, Mike, tell me a little bit what you worked on.
I'm working on a project called Marshall Mingi. It's in Swahili Mini Eyes. It's an observatory system that uses multiple telescopes that function together to act as one large telescope. We plan on putting these, we're working with Texas A&M. We're looking for other universities to have the students actually build the subcomponents. And what we plan on doing is looking to see the surface of actual stars, which right now we're not able to do. The best telescopes that are out there can still see them as just a point, like a point, so it's a point of light. But if you have one, say, the size of, and this is from Texas A&M's information, there are various campuses spread across Texas. So you're looking at a telescope possibly simulating a telescope that large. So we're working with a number of people to make that happen. And the picture that you saw from the telescope is just a graphical illustration of how it operates.
So, Beth, Mike is somebody else that I'm working with, and he's interested in utilizing this technology, so he's another another person that we're gonna need your skills for the marketing of the C3A technologies. Thank you, Mike. Okay.
Lights back on.
This concludes our presentation and demonstration. Beth, how do you on time? Okay. I want to thank Dr. Younger again, and Dr. Moore, Mr. McLean, and the president for coming and supporting, as well as the students. And I don't know what that dog's name is. Bubba. Who? Bubba. We got a Bubba too. My wife called my son Bubba. I'd like to thank everybody for the opportunity. Thank for Mike for coming down in the weather. And this is what we do. And any questions? Yes, ma'am.
Those colors that you put on that dog, can you just buy them anywhere?
Yes, ma'am. You get it from PetSmart, Petco. But, I will warn you that, sometimes people get a little sensitive when you say, I want a pinch collar, a prong collar, and they're like, what are you going to use it for? You say, I'm going to use it for my dog, and you'll get a very interesting response. And my solution for you to tell them that, well, if it's that bad, then why do you sell it? It's because people don't understand it. It's just a correction tool. It's not, it's not going to hurt the dog. It's just your way of communicating on a dog's level. Yes, ma'am. I just used some salami. You can use little weenies, little smoky sauces, chickens, whatever. I always like to, think like a dog. Would you like a dog treat or would you like a real meat treat? So I learned and I have seen that I get better response with a treat that's palatable versus a treat that's, kind of synthetic or whatever. Some dogs love cheese. I mean, whatever triggers that dog, whatever excites that dog, that's what you want to use. Yes.
They said that you can't tell me, but today if it works, you get it.
That's a key thing. You can buy this book. All learning begins with the senses. You can buy this book right here. www.drpositive.com. Yes.
I wonder, any certain age to train a dog?
I have me and my kids. We've had litters of puppies. All our puppies come stay down here off leash at about 5 weeks. Hence, you can't see this right here, but that says puppies now come with instructions. Okay? So at 5 weeks, 6 weeks, puppies already trained. Right now I'm doing a proof of concept with Mr. Don Johnson. He has German Shepherds. Okay? I'm supposed to be with him next week. And I'm going to train every last one of those puppies to come stay downhill. And when the new owners come and pick it up, I'm going to train them to make that puppy come stay downhill. And then they'll have my email if they got any questions. Send me a text and I'll tell them how to fix it. Yes.
I have two questions. One, it's 5-minute training, but are you doing this consistently every day for a period of time, or you're just doing it that 5 minutes and you're done?
It's done. Yep. Okay, tell you what.
3 dogs at home,
Yeah, that's what the problem is. Seriously, Katie, school's out? I'll leave these treats. Katie, train Bubba tomorrow. Bubba will come sit, stay downhill for her in less than 5 minutes.
Okay, I have a second question. I have a chihuahua that runs me. How do you get a prong collar for a little chihuahua?
They have prong collars for little, they have little ones. Or you can be like Charlie Simon, one of the guys I wrote about in the book. Or another lady in one of my classes had a little chihuahua. She really didn't want to utilize a prong collar. So I said, you have to do some type of negative stimulus if you want to fix it. So she bit the dog's ear. I'm serious. She bit the dog's ear and said, fix the problem. I'm serious. I'm serious. Yes.
Beyond the basic training that you gave us here, how much more does the book talk about?
The book just talked about how to make the dog come sit, stay downhill. Sit, stay, down, stay. The book tells you how to fix whining, pooping, peeing, barking. Every problem behavior, the book tells you how to fix it. If you got a problem behavior, I wrote about how to fix it. Howling, crate, whatever.
My aunt has 6 dogs and they're all horrible. Do you go about training one dog at a time, or do you try to train them all at once?
Train one at a time in a controlled environment. Okay? You train one, make it come sit, stay downhill or whatever. Then train the other one, make it come sit. Once you've made them all do it, then the challenge is you can train them all at the same time. That's how I did the litter of puppies. But I challenged myself, I trained them all at the same time. But you do it individually. Because once you imprint them all per cognitive modeling, they'll start mirroring each other. Well, this dog gets rewarded when he sits, so I think I'm going to sit. Seriously.
Video guy has a question.
Yes.
How about digging?
Digging. Easy. Okay? Now, the book talks about digging. We've done it. Me and Xavier and little Anthony. Mouse traps. Okay, listen. Remember, all learning begins with the senses. Remember, this is dogcology. So what you do is you load up the mouse traps. We used to do it individually. Then Xavier one day said, Dad, let's do it all at the same time. Okay, so we loaded up the mouse traps. Remember, canine communication and control. You communicate eyes, motion, movement, body language, and voice tone. So we loaded them up and we said, "Da-da-da, da-da-da." Okay? Now, mouse trap object is now a negative object in his mind. So, if he's digging right here, and then you take the mouse trap and you just pop him in front of him. Pop, pop, pop. Then you put the mouse traps in the hole and you stagger it. If the dog goes over there, the dog will not get hurt because the mouse trap is so quick. Okay? So if he goes over there, it's going to be like that. He's like, where's Katie? Would you go back over there? No. Okay, so what you've just done, you've de-printed that. And then now when he does not go over there, you tell him, good boy, treat, or drive his appetite, good boy, feed him. Dog says, I'd rather have that than this. Then you take up the mouse traps. That's how you fix digging.
Anthony, can you teach an old dog new tricks?
Yes, you can.
Can you teach an old human new tricks?
It's a little bit more complicated. Seriously. It is, because humans are hard to retrain. Yeah. So I don't usually, when I have some older ladies and gentlemen in my class, I don't push. I ask them, what do you want to do? And then I tell them, hey, this is how you do it, and I let them decide if they want to go that far. Because they, you know, they look at things a little differently because they love their animals. And, you know, sometimes, as my wife would tell me, you know, all the kids are out the nest, and that's their baby. So they're going to protect it. So I don't push it with older guys. Yes.
Do you feel like some of these problems happen, or like they develop some of these habits due to a lack of their energy being spent, or like just a neglected dog, and maybe if you start working them out, like, I don't know, like, what do you think about the energy level?
I believe that the energy level is only one component of the problem. If you can exercise the dog, not to exhaustion, but if you can exercise the dog to relax him, but that's a Band-Aid. You know, because the next day the dog's going to do the same thing. You have to modify the behavior. Okay? And a lot of the problems that occur are based on the fact that the human just doesn't know, because they're thinking like a human. You know, so it's the education component, or they don't know how to communicate with the dog, therefore they can't control it. That's your question. Okay. Yes.
I have a border collie. She's smart. She perfect dog off leash. I put a leash on her, and it's like she gives up on life. Like she doesn't do well on a leash. What do I do?
Did you rescue or this yours?
Offended that I put a leash on her. Oh,
But-
she's mine. Like
Since puppy,
yes,
how did you introduce the leash to her?
pet smart. Like
No, no. No, how? No, how did you introduce it to her?
I don't know. I don't remember.
Okay, for example,
I mean, it wasn't a struggle. It's just like, it's literally like she gets the feelings hurt. She's like, I'm a good dog without this. Why are you putting me on it?
because you got to put it on because of the leash laws.
Exactly. Right. She's like, she gets so upset and like, it's like,
And what do you do?
it's called her embarrassing me. I don't know.
And then what does she do?
She deals with it. Like,
Okay, the key thing is she's with you. You're not with her.
yeah.
That's the key thing. She's with you. You're not with her. Okay? When she doesn't put it on because she's giving you the look, she's training you. Now you're with her. So it's just like when Bubba got out of control. I was like, go get that leash. Get back over here. Bubba was with Katie because Bubba wanted to go everywhere. And Katie like, no, get back over here. You got to stay in control. You got to be the leader. No emotions. Not when I say no emotions, I'm not saying you can't love the dog. I'm saying, hey, do what I say do, and we ain't not gonna have any problems. So you have to, the alpha dog always leads all the time. So if you were to put a prong collar or go pinch her ear or something, when she do that, you wouldn't have that problem because she's like, you know, every time I do that, I get bit or I feel negative stimulus. So you know, that's a conditioned behavior, basically a conditioned response. But that's an easy fix. Just get on up here. If you, again, would put a prong, when you say get up here, the next time you say get up here, she's going to get up there because she doesn't want to get bit. And when she gets up there, you tell her, good girl. Yes?
When you're using a phone collar, is it like a click inside?
It's straight up.
Straight up.
You should hear, shh, shh. It's not a pull, it's a shh, shh. Just,
Other than the way you demonstrated, what else can you do to establish that alpha position?
you can, as early as possible, put the dog on his back and then get over it, on top of it. Remember, they can act like a dog. The submission of a dog is on the back, not on the side, straight on the back. And when you get over her, you're showing dominance. For example, I worked with a lady who had a Pyrenees, like that dog was, but full-blooded, and she was about this tall. Okay? And what happened was, she was feeding the dog, and the dog knocked her over. From that day on, the dog dominated her. I had a fight with that dog in her home. So that's why my wife always tell me, let people know it could get ugly. And that's why I wanted Katie to know, hey, look, Katie, this could happen. But I never lost a fight, and I wouldn't put her in that kind of position. Yes?
You brought out, this is kind of two things, you brought up rescue dogs. I have a dog that we didn't have him since day one. We got him about age 7 or 8 because we took him from a family friend. And I'm pretty sure that dog was broken down from day one because it would get a garage and then it's metal caging, and that's all he got. So now, and you mentioned submission, you like walk up to him and he automatically falls over. But if he's just in general, he'll come up to me and like nip at my leg, or he'll just try and jump on you, and you try and shut him off, but nothing phases him. You try like barking, try the little kind of pitch thing, he just kind of shakes his head and he's like, okay, cool, but like nothing.
So what do you want to know? What do you want to,
Like,
but
what would he do for that?
for his problem behavior?
Yeah, I mean, he just has so much energy that he thinks that he doesn't feel self-control.
And then when you take him out, he still has the energy? Okay, so he's hyperphysical.
Yeah.
Okay. I have used on hyperphysical dogs, seriously, I've used a pinch collar. When Bubba came in here, I was observing him. I wanted to see just how hyped he was. Okay? But I don't know if you noticed, Bubba got just a little stimulus, Bubba calmed down.
He didn't do that.
Okay, have you ever used that?
I think, yeah, I think we have one choke collar just regularly. Not
Choke collar?
like a chain, yeah.
Have you used a prong collar?
No, like I think we have, I'm not sure.
Oh, okay, well, maybe I should get with you and come help you with your problem.
Okay, so, I train my dogs, you're not allowed in the kitchen, especially when I'm cooking. These dogs snap and fight and they'll get out, but if we leave you on the stove, or leave you on the counter, someone said you go eat in the dining room, and they keep on up in there and have a great dance, you can reach up to the counter.
Mouse traps.
Now,
Yeah. Now, you got to put the picture in his head. You gotta imprint him. Then put the mouse traps up there. And then put them like that.
Or just make my invisible line where I don't want to do that.
And, on the counter. Yes. Now, I'll give you guys there's my email. That's my number. Email me with your problems. I've got to the point where I do virtual dog training. I don't need to see the dog. I'm training you. All of you got problems? Of course, after you bought the book, Just text me or email. I'll tell you how to fix it. Yes.
I have a question. One of my friend's dogs sleeps in the same spot in her house every day. How would you fix that?
It's easy. No. Okay, first of all, let's ask, the first question I was, well, why is the dog pooping? Well, first of all, the dog's dominant, dog territorial. This is my spot. Okay? Is it more than just one dog?
In house?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, how many dogs in the house?
6, including us.
Okay, the dog said, that's my spot. Okay? Now, is your friend leaving food and water down?
No.
She feed and take up.
Yeah, food.
Okay, is he peeing or pooping? Okay, so she take it out, does it do his business? Pee and poop? Okay, I'm just asking a question. The dog has to pee and poop. Or, I recommend crate training, because dog's not gonna pee and poop in this environment, but it'll pee and poop in yours. Seriously.
And if she does?
Now, good question. Do you know what your friend does when she does? Okay, this is what you tell your friend, besides buy this book. Okay, definitely tell your friend, buy this book. And give her my email. This is how you fix the problem. You take that dog, Either she can use a prong collar, or she can grab it by the back of the neck and scruff it, or she can pinch it, some kind of negative stimulus. Take that dog to that spot and say, no, no. You let that dog know, every time you poop right here, you're going to feel, I'm going to bite you. You're saying, no, no. Then take her outside. You're saying, here. Not here. Here. Where a lot of people mess up is they never take the dog back to the scene of the crime and give it a negative stimulus, because in his subconscious mind, that's a positive. I get away with that all day. Well, you got to erase that. Just, no, no, not here, here. Then it's just repetition and consistency. And you clean it up 50-50 vinegar and water.
When you talk about imprinting with the mouse traps, like at what point do you actually just start snapping them in their face to get them initially imprinted? Like when they're being a good boy, when they're laying down, like when do you do that?
Once you do the
When do you do that is the thing. Just randomly?
randomly, just out of the blue, everybody's fine. Okay? And you just, you load them up. Everybody's fine. He has no clue. You know, just load them up. You and your friend or whomever, you just load them up, and then you just throw them at him. Just out of the blue. It's going to startle them. And then you take them and chase them. Pop, 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 pop. It's there. Now you just put them where you want to put them.
Without loading them,
Sir?
put them where you want them without loading them,
Put them where you want them loaded.
or loaded.
Yeah, because if you go over there, it's going to be, it's not going to go back.
But it's not gonna catch them.
Not going to catch. It's too quick. It'll stall them. Yes.
I have a question. My cousins have a dog that they took him to a dog trainer and he's trained like he can sit, stay, all that. But when he's around people, he's very aggressive towards everyone else. And they'll take him aside and they'll tell him to stop. And he listens to them, he won't do it when they're right next to him. But as soon as they leave him, he goes and he snaps and barks at anyone who walks by.
Did they do this in their environment or away from it?
They did it, well, he does it anywhere. Like,
No.
even in their house, he does it.
Did the dog trainer train it there or away from there?
The dog trained, I guess at, I think they took him to PetSmart and trained him. But,
Environment shapes behavior.
so, but she says that he still does it at the dog train, where they take him to train too. Like, he won't do it to the trainer anymore, but he does it to the other dogs too.
He won't. Did she train it or the trainer train it?
They train it. But,
Katie, what's wrong with that problem?
Not trained on it. It doesn't know that the owner is off and on.
well, but, no, my cousin's trained it.
Your cousin trained it? Okay.
And he'll stop when they tell him to stop. But as soon as they leave, like if they go to a different room or they walk away from him, he still snaps at them.
And what do they do when he snap at other people?
They take him to the side and, well, what they do is they take him to the side and they make him do tricks and then they put him in the crate. And they won't listen. It's not the way to do it.
That's not it. Okay. If he snapped at Katie, okay, right then, that dog should be corrected. When your dog snaps and you're giving it treats or tricks, the dog learns, I get tricks when I snap. So if you are a dog and you like tricks, remember I said food reward, verbal reward, physical reward, and play. Those are rewards. So as a result of that, the dog knows when I snap, I'm going to get a trick. Let's come over here and play with me. I wouldn't do that because you're rewarding negative behavior.
So to correct it, would you use like a prong collar?
I would. If he tried to bite Katie, I would bite him. Then I put him in a sit stay, and if he moves, I'll bite him all the way back to the spot and tell him that's no. Not let's flip or something. Do a trick.
Yeah.
You're rewarding the negative behavior.
And that's what the dog trainer had told them to do, which is why they were doing it.
Well, let's just say, because my wife always wants me to work on my political correctness. Let's just say a lot of dog trainers don't want to address the problem. They want to give a different solution or a positive. For example, went somewhere and lady came in and said, I got a digging problem. Katie, I'm going to pick on you, so pay attention. Lady says I have a digging problem. Okay? So this particular place said, well, you know what? We use positive reinforcement. So what we would like for you to do is buy this tub, buy this sand, and I want you to put treats under there. That way the dog's not going to dig over here. He comes over here and dig. Katie, what's wrong with that?
Teaching the dog to dig for treats, it doesn't know the.
Okay? Thank you, Katie. Another lady came in with a chewing problem. She had a few drinks. She was very, very upset. Just built a $450,000 home. Dog chewed all the jam up. Goes in, person says, well, yes, buy this and spray here. Katie, what's wrong with that problem? Bingo. So those are the kind of things that's why I say, you can't correct a negative behavior with positive reinforcement. You just can't, per my research. I can't speak for anybody else. Yes, Mr.
I would like to, I'm Randy McLean, I'm the Continuing Education Program Coordinator. Anthony's next class, Dr. Positive, will be starting January 25th, okay? And I have some flyers up there, so if you want to attend this class or refer a friend to it, it's a great class, and he'll be giving that class. And also on the back, I have his How to Be a Genius class, which he teaches for us. And so I just want to put a little plug in for that.
Thank you,
okay?
sir.
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, this lady, redhead lady's had a question for a while, if you could answer it.
I didn't see for the lights. Oh, that's Miss Hamlin?
Yes.
That's Miss Sharon Hamlin. She was one of my students.
Okay, two things. Please clarify how long you leave the prong collar on for.
The prong collar is just a correction tool. You don't have to leave it on all day, but if you're trying to solve a problem, leave it on, try to catch them in it, and use it. Then take it off. It's just a correction tool. You should be, in parallel, you should be utilizing your eyes, motion, movement, body language, and voice tones, integrated with a negative stimulus. So next time you say ah, when you have said ah in a correction, the next time you say ah, the dog thinks the correction is coming, but he gets a good boy. So you're in his mind, you're in his subconscious mind. So it's just a correction tool. Thank you.
Second thing, he did not know I was coming today. Okay, I'm not really a plant. Mercedes, got your feathers. I went to his class this fall, and I had a good dog. I've got an awesome dog now, and the mouse traps. I thought, oh, that sounds so cruel. Mercedes gave me the confidence that it's really not bad, and the hardest thing for me with the mouse trap was trying to set the darn thing, okay? I have 3 birds in a bird room, and I did not want my dog going into the bird room because dogs tend to eat bird droppings, and then it messes up their whole pH and GI system, and it cost me a lot of money with my other dog to learn that lesson. The mouse traps work wonderful, and they're great. So don't be afraid of the mouse traps. And I would thoroughly recommend the book. The drawings are easy. They're great to understand. I'm a copious note taker, but I love the book. I highlighted all through it. And I would say take his class and then go spread the word. It's worth it.
That was not a plant.
You didn't know I was coming.
I didn't even see you. Thank you. Okay.
What kind of tool would you use for a vocal problem?
A who?
A vocal
vocal problems.
You got a barking problem?
Not barking, it's more like whenever we're around other dogs, my dog will whine a lot, or if we're in the car getting ready to go somewhere, and he'll like make this weird like awful noise.
And what do you do?
Well, like if we're at home and if he'll like like when he wants something, I'll put him in timeout, make him go to his room, start to move it.
Katie, Katie, what's wrong with that?
Not really negative, it's just.
It's a Band-Aid. He won.
Well, what do I do mainly like with social, whenever I'm out in public and he does that around other dogs?
Is you got him on a leash? Put a prong collar on him. When he whines, easy. He's gonna like, you talking to me? Yep, good boy, I'm talking to you.
What about in the car when I'm driving? Grab
Now, I could tell you about the B3 bomber, which is the Bruin's brainwave breaker, where you, same thing, take a can of pennies, tape it up, duct tape, put 12 pennies in there, okay, just in the house one day, out of the blue, if you want to tell him the key word, quiet, okay, just out of the blue, take your 2 cans and chase him, quiet, 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 quiet. Okay, sound interrupts thought. The can now is a negative object. So when you say quiet, just say, "Shh, quiet." He's gonna like. So you can use that, or you can use the collar. The cans be a lot more easier for you because you can drive and like. Shh. That's how you fix that. Yes.
My sister and her husband, they have a huge black lab, and they're fencing it in March. And she's never been aggressive or anything, but she's very big, and I don't think she like realizes her size. What's like the best way to prepare her to be like more gentle around like children and kids?
First of all, everybody that asked me a question, can you email that question? Because I just want to like have them. I'm sure Beth, I think we would like to have those questions. My advice to you is you need to introduce this dog to the baby, okay? Because if that dog has been the only dog, it's just one dog?
Yeah, it's like their baby. They
It's,
got it since they were
okay,
babies.
okay, this is the baby, okay? The dog is their baby, okay? So there's a new baby coming in, okay? So as a result of that, the dog might not want to give up some of the time. So I've seen scenarios where dogs, well, you know what? I can't get in it. I'm gonna leave a little something for you over here, or I'm gonna go chew this up, or I'm gonna go dig this up, because they're not getting any attention because people spoiled it. Okay, so life changes, new variables, dog act out. So introduce the baby to the dog. Each one of my kids, when they were born, were introduced to the pit bull dogs. Just introduced. They're gonna smell it, and you're saying good girl or good boy. Okay, and then there you have it. Because they're looking at that baby as, she's gonna look at that baby as a little puppy, not like a human. She's gonna look at it like a little puppy. So you gotta introduce it. So let me know when that time comes, and I'll talk to them and help them. Because if they see any signs of a snarl or hair up on the back, or ears or tail up, or body tense, they got to shut that down. Otherwise, it could be a bad day.
We have time for one more question.
I'll take some in the lobby, dude. Okay.
When I'm going down the road, my dog likes to sit on my console, and I slammed him into the dashboard a few times, but he still does it. And I'll push him and tell him to get off, and he will for about 10 minutes, and then he gets back up on the console.
Is this a little chihuahua or something?
He's a rat terrier.
Is he spoiled? Yeah, somebody said put a mouse trap on the console. You know? Huh?
If I get snapped by it,
I would recommend to you to use that B3 bomber, so that, you know, put him where do you want him to sit? In the back somewhere, or?
or the floor, just away from the console.
put him where you want him to put him. After you put the picture, put him where you want him to sit, and just put the can on the console. Because he knows, he sees that. That's not good. And when just like that. Okay. In conclusion, please send me the questions. Thank you, Dr. Younger. Thank you, Dr. Moore. Thank you, President. Thank you, students. Thank you, Bubba. Thank my family. I'm still working. This is my second event. Just working on my presentation skills, and I'm sure that I'll get a thorough, critical analysis from my wife when we, get home tonight. And that's her job, because we're trying to get this thing polished. That's her job, is to help me to get tighter. I thank you, and I just thank you. Thank you.
I know you all enjoyed this, it's obvious, but I also want to thank Mike, and I want to thank Bethy, and I want to thank Tony for showing us a preview of what's to come in other classes with three-dimensional objects and the ability to control those objects. I know that Mary is sitting back there thinking, oh my God, Dr. Younger covered twice as much material in half the time, But this is the future. And there are places in this country where dreams go to die. All right, Joyce? Sorry. Anyway, there are places where dreams are born. And Tomball College is one of those places, and as we move into the future, because of people like Mike and because of people like Tony and Bethy working together, the concept of learning is going to change so dramatically in the next 10 years. You're not even going to remember what it was like. Because I know Kathleen sees y'all with PDF files and things that she never had access to when she was going through school and having to take notes, and is so envious you'll be in that position in years to come because of engineering and technology and people like this. So thank you very much, Tony,
Yes, sir.
for taking your time. Appreciate it.
Yeah.